Nobody could have seen this coming as the New York Knicks lose a young up-and-coming player to a team that, I say without hyperbole, we have never lost a player to before. We got to break it all down. What's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Knicks Basketball 365. If you're a New York Knicks fan, please hit that subscribe button. Let's jump right into the video for today. Coming from CBS Sports, former Detroit Pistons second-round pick James Nnaji has enrolled at Baylor and is immediately eligible to play for the Baylor Bears men's basketball team. Jonathan Givony reports a significant development and an unprecedented path to college basketball. And if this guy is a former Detroit Pistons draft pick, you may ask, why do the New York Knicks care about him? Well, if we continue down from CBS Sports, James Nnaji, 21 years old, went 31st overall in the 2023 NBA draft, with his rights going to the Charlotte Hornets as part of a trade. However, his rights were then traded to the New York Knicks in 2024 as part of the Karl-Anthony Towns and Dante DiVincenzo deal. However, Nnaji never signed an NBA contract and instead has been playing overseas in Europe. Now, James Nnaji, you aren't going to know who this guy is unless you either pay very close attention to the New York Knicks roster moves, or if you watched Summer League, which was the only opportunity that we had to watch James Nnaji play in a Knicks uniform. Over those Summer League games, he only played in a few. His final game, he had 11 rebounds. Only 4 points was his maximum over his last 5 games of Summer League, because this guy is just not a high-level scorer. But it is just insane to see a player that the New York Knicks have draft rights to going back to college in a move that I'm pretty sure has never happened before, which is absolutely crazy. The question that you are most likely asking, what happens when James Nnaji is ready to play in the NBA now, when he's done with his eligibility in college? Do the New York Knicks still have his rights? Yes, we absolutely do. When James Nnaji comes back out of Baylor, we still own his rights in the NBA. They are an asset that we are able to trade should we decide to trade. I don't expect any team to put a whole lot of stock into it, but I mean, there are players whose draft rights get traded around all the time as part of a joke. You know, James Nnaji's draft rights are of course not a joke, because he's still a young player who can find a way to find a footing in this league. He is a tall, athletic center, and we want to break down exactly what his strengths and weaknesses are. These are coming from Sports Illustrated. Some of his strengths: he has long arms and a muscular body and frame. That's great stuff. You can't teach a guy to have longer arms. You can't teach a guy to be more athletic. Height matters so much in basketball, more than it matters in other sports, and you want to be drafting guys that have the height, because of course you can't teach it. James Nnaji, his NBA comp, kind of like a Mitchell Robinson type of player, so extremely limited offensive player and really overall limited basketball player, but he's a good athlete and a quality, or you would hope he develops into a quality big man. Some of these other strengths here: runs the court and shows mobility on both sides of the court, so big mobile dude, athletic finisher at the rim, defensive presence, and rim protection. That final point, one of the most important points when you are looking for a center. If you're trying to win an NBA championship, you're going to need a rim protector, unless you are the Denver Nuggets, but we can't get a Nikola Jokic, so we're going to try to do it the normal way. We're going to go get a center who can protect the rim. That's what we have currently with Mitchell Robinson. James Nnaji, should he come back to the New York Knicks, and should he be able to develop, he would give us another option like a Mitchell Robinson. We know Mitch, there's a whole lot of talks about him being traded right now, not a whole lot of talks about it, but constantly dealing with injury issues. So it would be great to find another rim protector. Also, when it comes to these centers, they are expensive to trade for. They're expensive contract wise. They're difficult to find. Every team needs one. So you want to make sure that you are drafting them, and you want to make sure you are hanging on to them when you do get their draft rights. Some of the concerns of James Nnaji's player archetype: limited scoring ability, lacks a reliable low post game. That is a little bit of a cause for concern, because you like your center to have that post game, and only an average feel for the game. I mean, when you're coming out of the NBA draft and being selected 31st overall, that is the range of players who have some skills that you can't teach, but overall they're not finished products. So it makes sense that James Nnaji is still a raw player with things that he has to work on. The number one thing that he has to work on is his scoring game. Right now, he's more of a defensive player who is going to rim run and catch lobs on the offensive side of the glass. I really like the Mitchell Robinson comparison for James Nnaji is something that makes a ton of sense, and that's really what you can expect out of James Nnaji. Now, I'm not expecting 15 million offensive rebounds a night out of this player should he get his opportunity, but he is just a big center who's going to be getting rebounds and running hard every single time he is getting the opportunity. So, just an absolutely insane story coming. We still have his draft rights, so should he come out of college, which he has to do eventually, you only get so many years of eligibility, the New York Knicks still hang on to James Nnaji's draft rights, and I think it would be really smart to continue to give this guy a chance when he comes back to the NBA and just give him a chance to develop, even as unlikely as it is that he will develop into a long-term, even role player or starter for the New York Knicks. That's what I got for this video. If you stuck around this long, I appreciate you taking the time to watch it all the way through. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and go Knicks.